Hey, what is going on, everybody out there? This is Jakejames Lugo, senior editor here at thecoalition.com, and I'm going to be chatting it up with some cool people today to talk about the mClassic from Marseille. I actually have Amine and I have Arabian Prince, both the CEO of Marseille and also the chief designer of the mClassic, to talk with me a little bit about it for you guys. So, gentlemen, welcome. Thanks for chatting up with me. How's everything going on your guys' end?
Wonderful. Thank you so much. This is Amine.
And Arabian, you there? You can hear us?
Oh, yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, how's it going on your end? Everything cool? Because I saw you at E3 recently, and we got to talk a little bit.
Everything's amazing. E3 was a big success, and we're looking forward to this launch.
Definitely. Now, you guys had a booth there. You guys had, some displays of the mClassic and stuff. So for anybody that doesn't know, again, because we didn't really get to put our talk out there after E3, what is the mClassic? What is that what is this, piece of tech that you guys are, going to have a Kickstarter with very soon? Like, what is the main purpose of it?
Go for it.
Go ahead, Arabian.
I was going to say, go for it. Tell them what it's about.
No, it's, in a nutshell, is the world's first add-on graphics processor to any game console. So, the idea behind is that if you're a PC gamer, you can go to the store, get a graphics card, spend $500 to $1,000, upgrade your PC, and you're going to enjoy a better gaming experience. We all know better graphics, better pixel. It's how you can get better gameplay. That's what we call it, right? So now, for the first time ever, you're going to be able to upgrade the graphics performance of any game console, PS4, Xbox One X, Nintendo Switch, you name it, including retro gaming, by simply buying for $99 mClassic, this HDMI dongle that has a built-in graphics processor, post-processor from Marseille that you just plug into the back of your game console and magic starts. The moment you plug it, it's every pixel get withdrawn at wire speed at up to 120 frames a second, and basically to get you a better graphics, better pixel. That in a nutshell, what is mClassic.
Yeah, and Arabian, how did you really get involved with this? Because I know when we talked at E3, I mean, obviously a lot of people know you for, for music stuff. At least from what I didn't know from beforehand, you're obviously a big gamer. And like, how did this collaboration come to be?
So I met Amine and Marseille last year at E3. So just literally a year before I met you there, I was introduced to him and his product, mCable. And he showed me the product and I was blown away by, what it actually did. I was skeptical like everybody else at first, but once he showed me and convinced me what it did, I was like, man, this needs to be out there to the world. And, my background, I've been making music for 39 years, with NWA and all the other stuff I've produced. But also I've been doing video games for 39 years in production and special effects and 3D animation on over 100 video game titles and movies and films. So I've been in this business forever. And when I saw the product, I was like, wow, that's freaking amazing. You know what I mean? And I'm like, I got to figure out a way to get involved and make this product better for gamers, since I'm a gamer and I'm all about the respect of the gamer. So for me, it was just kind of like talking to him and convincing him that I had this idea, which I didn't have at the time. Kind of like, I got an idea, I think, and let me see if I can scratch this out. And I designed something and showed it to him and he loved it. And here we are.
Mm-hmm.
Which is very, very cool. Now, I got to see it at E3, again, when you guys had the booth there when we were talking. It's very small. Obviously, the mCable, obviously, it looks like a longer HDMI cable, and the mClassic almost looks kind of like a USB cable, like something like you could put on like your keychain and stuff. I mean, what is the type of tech that goes into this thing, to help better, just the visuals overall for many of the game systems that you guys were talking about, or at least the ones that you had mentioned to me when we spoke back then? Because one of the things we talked about was obviously the retro game crowd. I mean, people that love some of their classic games that they want to go back and revisit. This helps them, get a little bit of a better experience, visually wise and stuff. Like, what type of tech goes into this thing?
We basically, it's a full-fledged graphics post-processor. So which means that any content that you throw at it, whether it's retro gaming, whether it's 1080p, whether it's video to a certain extent, it's basically going to redraw, it's going to enhance it by some of the feature like scaling, for 1440p, 4K. It's gonna redraw contrast, enhancement, anti-aliasing, we've got this proprietary algorithm for depth of field where we basically run some kind of artificial intelligence in the chip algorithms that try to figure out the zone of interest to recreate the content as originally intended by the director and make it more real. And that's what it's all about. Now, what's interesting with this product is a lot of consumers had the privilege to hear about mCable, and for probably seen the review from Linus Tech on YouTube.
We have an unboxing we did of it. We did one on the Koalition when it came out.
Yeah, no. So mCable was, but again, it was too good to be true. I mean, what the hell is the crazy idea of coming up? It was almost too clever. A bunch of scientists, engineers like me in Silicon Valley, getting the crazy idea to put a graphics post-processor inside an HDMI connector. But one of the good things with mClassic, beside the look and feel, which is amazing, the simplicity, the fact that you can have it in your pocket and plug it wherever you want into the back of any HDMI console or even streaming box, is the fact that you can interact with the device. You've got this physical switch on it where you can turn on, turn off the processor, and also you can change mode. You can go into full mode processing. You can go into retro game mode processing. And basically the switch will turn on. It's got an LED light on it, which will go from green to blue and so on, depending on the mode of processing. So, it's massive computation. We're privileged to be based in Silicon Valley between NVIDIA, AMD, and Intel, where we had the privilege to build our own processor. So it's massive hardware acceleration to enhance every single pixel to make it more real. And again, one thing that we're really just about for gamers is obviously no lag time. So all this processing is done up to 120 frames a second without adding, all sub 1 millisecond processing, which means literally no lag time,
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, so let me ask this to you, Arabian, because again, you're the chief designer of this thing. What were some of the big challenges of putting all this together? I mean, some of the stuff that maybe you had to think about, or that you wanted to aim for, at least specific goals, or what type of stuff was part of your thought process with everything?
Well, part of my thought process was, gamers are very simplistic and, kind of we want to just play games as fast as we possibly can. And also to gamers, most of us think that we're very technical. Some of us are, some of us aren't, but we all think we are, just because we play games. And I also knew that gamers are very, what's the word I'm trying to use? Picky. They will pick apart. Yeah. Anal, I can use that word as well. When you're buying stuff, if you're I build PCs as well as consoles. So, it's kind of you want the best of this and the best of that and the best of this. You want the best of everything because you want your system right, perfect. So when you go play your game. And it was one of those things where the mCable, I love it to death. I have them all over my house. I use them. But I knew for gamers, in a sense, a lot of gamers, I looked at the reviews, a lot of them were skeptical. Oh, it's an HDMI cable. There's so many people spending all this money on HDMI cables that say they do this and say they do that. And it's not because mCable is not good and not what it's supposed to be. It's the fact that it is, but it's the fact that there's so many other companies out there that put out crap and put out garbage. It puts a black eye on just HDMI cables in general, which unfortunately, sometimes will make people skeptical about an amazing product. So for me, it was taking it out the cable, taking that technology, taking that amazing processing chip, and putting it in something that was for the gamer, that looked like it was for the gamer, that looked like it was part of their system, part of that thing. And me, I spend $500 to $800 on graphics cards for my PC. And I'm like, you know what? No one's ever made a graphics card for a console. So here it is.
Yeah, And that's interesting to know. Now, what I'm curious about, and I'm pretty sure a lot of other people listening to this now are curious about, is that were you guys ever worried about maybe this not being, working as well with like some of the older tech, like some older consoles? Because obviously we have a lot of classic consoles that have been released, mini consoles and replicas and stuff, including the PlayStation Classic. We got the Sega Genesis Classic coming very soon. We've had the SNES and the NES Classic, stuff like that re-releases older games from, past generations. Did you guys ever have a worry that maybe like some of the stuff that this product was going to do maybe wouldn't do it as well for some of that older stuff? Like, for example, blowing up an image that's like 8-bit from back in the day that's like 4:3 could sometimes either look a little bit pixelated or other type of stuff. Was there ever a worry about that?
So I think now, of course, I mean, so first of all, we didn't embark into this trend of responding to retro gaming because this is the hot trend right now. What will happen is we receive thousands of customers who experience mCable and give feedback left and right, and I'm very thankful for that. So we knew that from technology, we have something. Now, the big question is, you mention it without mentioning it, but basically, it's been a lot of failure of companies trying to come up with some products. I'm not going to mention Sony or others coming up with a new console trying to mimic a retro gaming console, but it's not really a retro gaming console, right? So the key is, what is the goal? Our goal, let's be very clear at Marseille, what we see for retro gaming, our problem is, the opportunity that we see is, how can you allow the gamer that 15, 10, 15, 20 years ago experienced retro gaming on this old monitor, and 20 years later, he wants to relive that moment, right? But he wants to relive it on a new modern display. And where we see the opportunity for technology like Marseille is, how can we make retro still look like retro, but on a modern display? And basically the idea is not to try to, take retro and, remove all the artifacts of retro and make it no longer look retro. It's more about removing, if I can say, the artifact of a modern display. And what I mean by that is, I always go back because, I personally come from a video background. We come from, the video, and so we look at this from a technology standpoint. So one thing which is important to know is Marseille was involved in the early days of the first display of 4K, right? And I don't know if you remember that, but as a consumer, when they discovered their first 4K TV, they didn't realize that it was an amazing TV, but something that people forget is not because you get a better display that you're gonna get a better visual experience. For better visual experience, you need better display, better content. And as you know, you get a 4K TV, you used to watch a DVD disc, for example, on an HD TV, and it looks good until you plug the 4K TV, where you start to notice detail that you didn't notice before. So the idea behind is that, a better display is better, but it requires better content. And where Marseille comes in with mClassic is, how can I take this 20 years old game console, GameCube, your Dreamcast, and you name it, and how can I make it looks amazing on a modern display without compromising the retro gaming experience? And you mentioned it also, of course, there's the pixel themselves, but there's also something that we've done in mClassic in the retro game mode, which is the aspect ratio. Of course, if the game was, played in 4:3 format, aspect ratio versus 16:9 video, you want to preserve that. So I think that based on the overall feedback from retro gamer, there's no doubt that we've done something which is quite spectacular for them by, again, the ease of simplicity, by being able to just plug back the device inside the console, plug and play, basically.
So let me ask you this to both of you guys then, and again, it might sound a little bit redundant, coming off from, the mCable, again, like I said, we reviewed it. We have content about that up on the website now, but taking in the feedback that you guys probably saw from, various different outlets that were reporting on it or covering it and stuff, was there any like one specific thing that you guys felt like, okay, this had to be addressed with the mClassic, coming off from the mCable like that, like probably like a big criticism or a big thing that stuck out the most?
Yeah, no, big time. And I'm telling you, and I will let Arabian Prince comment on that. I'm telling you, I am personally at the founder and CEO of the company. I mean, we love what we do. We don't joke about it. So, there's no bad feedback, right? So we took all this feedback constructive, and this is why actually mClassic is, everything that people love about mCable is in mClassic, and mClassic is actually better. So let me give you concrete feedback that we heard. One thing that was really hard is obviously, Linus Tech is the first one that discovered that, mentioned on his review 1.8 million view. He mentioned, it would be great, to be able to turn off the processing. So yes, mCable, there's no physical switch on it. So one of the first things we've done, we make sure to have a physical switch on mClassic to allow the gamer select what he wants. If you want to go into pass-through mode for XYZ reason, including, preserving some of the retro game that you think it looks better without processing, let the gamer choose. We are here, trying to make it better for the gamer, but not imposing a processing. So that's like a concrete feedback from mCable. The second thing that you get out as a result of implementing having a physical switch that you can interact with mClassic is the fact that, I think I'm very thankful for what Linus Tech did on that, is he was ahead of the curve, and he realized that actually, what if, since he understood that mCable was not really a cable but more processor, what if I daisy chain two of mCable, if I plug back to mCable, I'm going to get more processing. And of course, when you're doing this, you're going to get more processing, but in the meantime, depending on the content, dual processing is not necessarily better, especially if the processor are not aware that they are in daisy chain. So having the ability to be able to, to plug in the back of mClassic and mCable and take advantage of two processors with the switch on mClassic that allow you to turn on and turn off the processing, that is really another great feedback that we got from Linus Tech and others, or allowing the consumer to be able to take advantage of more processor for Marseille, right? The other feedback that, I was saying earlier, which was something is the retro gamer, and I'm very thankful for thousands and thousands of customers who expressed themselves and said, we love what mCable does, but in the meantime, we really want to preserve the aspect ratio of the retro gaming, which is 4:3. That's one of the other reasons, besides improving the algorithm, that we integrated that there. The other criticism that we receive in mCable, but overall, it was like, it's not compliant with HDR, with encrypted content over HDCP 2.2, but this more for 4K Blu-ray. It's not really for gamers. So this time we wanted to make sure that mClassic really focused on, delivering really a great value proposition. And that was one of the challenges of Arabian Prince, which was how do we simplify this massive technology and, to make it simple for the gamer. So instead of trying to do a kitchen sink approach and we address everybody's problem, we kind of focus to make sure that, yes, it delivers its promises by being the world's first add-on graphics processor. Arabian, what do you think?
Yeah, I believe that. I mean, it's,
isn't it?
what does that sound?
Whoa, what is that sound? That's
It's
random.
popped up on my screen in the background and I can't find it. We're
It's probably an ad.
sharing a bunch of stuff, and I guess one of my
Why are you
screens.
here?
That's funny.
It's all good. We're keeping this in there as bloopers just because it's fun.
Yeah.
But even so, when you get a chance though, Arabian, any other thoughts to add to that though? Because I know it seems like again you guys got a lot of feedback, obviously, about stuff coming off from mCable.
And go ahead, Arabian.
No, what I was saying is it was trying to make something that was already amazing better and adding just the few things that people wanted. Like the pass-through was really, really a big thing that people wanted. Like, well, maybe I don't want to process it, but I don't want to always have to unplug it. You know what I mean? So just that in itself was something. And then the 4:3 for the retro consoles. And, it just kind of put everything into like a package that the gamer could appreciate because it was built for the gamer.
And I think what I would like to add too, that we did over the mCable, which is quite very exciting to me, is so Marseille is definitely known for this advanced technology of fixing the legacy content, right? So it was not that hard for us to have a solution for the retro gamer. And I don't want to sound too arrogant here, but to a certain extent is we have a proven track record in fixing low resolution content and making it better. On the other hand, mCable was not bringing a tremendous value proposition for either a PC gamer or somebody that has the latest and greatest 4K game console like a PS4 Pro or an Xbox One X or S. And so on the other hand, now what we've done with mClassic, we raised the bar over mCable by doing this amazing thing where the graphics processor built in can go and upres video to 4K, but it can do something with gaming monitor on taking the output of a 4K game console to native 1440p, and the result is spectacular. I mean, the results speak for itself. If you have the privilege to take a PS4 Pro or an Xbox One X and plug it to a 1440p monitor, it looks good, until you plug the mClassic and you realize that good is no longer good enough. It looks better and way better. And what I mean by that is we were doing some demonstration at E3 where we were showing the God of War, coming out of PS4 Pro, look through mClassic process. And frankly speaking, it's amazing and to see the difference of enhancement like you've seen on, I'm sorry, but LED is still trying to compete with plasma. I mean, we all know that plasma was too expensive to manufacture, but the effect of a plasma display is phenomenal. So when you plug the mClassic, the output of the PS4 Pro, and you drive a 1440p monitor with it, I mean, it feels like, reinventing plasma on an LED display. The black is black, the white is white, the contrast, the depth of field, it's impressive, and yet it's addictive, which is quite amazing.
So let me ask you guys this. This would be a great way to round things off. And I'll go to you first, Arabian, for this. What is your guys' vision of like the type of people that are really going to jump in on this? Like, obviously we keep mentioning gamers, we keep mentioning retro fans, and people that just love gaming in general. But like, do you guys see like, a lot of the competitive crowd picking something like this up, or the guys that are the TOs that are hosting tournaments, or the people that are throwing conventions, just trying to set up a bunch of games for everybody out there to enjoy and play, like when they get away from everything else? Like, really, who do you think is really going to be the group or the crowd that latches onto this the most?
Well, I personally think, like I said, I actually, dabble and own an esport company as well. So for me, definitely the competitive gamer, because I try to consider myself a competitive gamer in jest. But, definitely anybody who wants better, like what, if you playing a game now or anything now, something's going to make it better. You're going to want this. And if you can use it for your video content as well, wow, it's like it's a no-brainer, especially with everybody buying all these new and amazing game consoles out there. Not game consoles, but TV sets, the 4K TVs. And now they're already talking about 8K TV. So you got the TV set, but the content's not there. With this, it helps to bring that content closer to what it's supposed to be on your TV.
Do you think that it's probably going to help people, maybe, again, if they probably don't have the funds or the resources, or at least, the time to go and get, like, obviously, if they have, like, a PlayStation 4, instead of going for a PlayStation 4 Pro or something along those lines, that'll give them a little bit of extra boost to be on that same level of par with those that are out there trying to get that same experience?
Oh, hell yeah. And for cheaper. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For
which I think is great.
Yeah. And you can use it with more than one thing. If you buy, like the beefed up console, you can't use it with your other console. You know what I mean? You can use this with everything in your house. So that's the other amazing thing about it.
I think what I like to add is what you were saying earlier, Arabian Prince, is most gamers actually, you can get a new game console, but most of them, they don't throw away their game console. So the reality is that you got over 1 billion of gaming console on the market right now, and you can revive them by simply plugging an mClassic into the back. That's powerful. And last but not least is, to me, the visual enhancement. I don't believe that beside maybe the gamer, but in overall as consumer, we're not necessarily looking just for better for the sake of looking for better. What happened is, like the Retina display, once you get exposed, there's no going back. So as long as we get a chance to the gamer and the average consumer to experience the mClassic effect, is once you get hooked up, you won't go back. And last but not least, I'd like to add for the record here is I want to thank the engineering, because you were asking a question earlier, Arabian Prince as a chief designer, what we've done is, take the challenge of making it looking good, sleek, and making practical for a gamer. For the engineers in Silicon Valley was, I was really just from trying to accommodate every single desire from a design standpoint, from a look and feel from Arabian Prince, but from an engineering standpoint was how can we deliver the value proposition without sacrificing the design? And obviously from a thermomechanic standpoint, from a form factor, so it was kind of like give the full freedom to the designer, and behind the scene figure out a way from an engineering standpoint to deliver the product. So overall, kudos to the team.
Okay, it's something you just brought up an interesting point that I think I should also ask too before we finish up. Did you guys at any point, or maybe you talked amongst yourselves, maybe about going to either one of the big hardware manufacturers or even some of the big stores and doing some sort of collaboration with this type of stuff? Like, for example, going to go talk to PlayStation or going to go talk to Microsoft about what the mClassic can do, or like how can it work, or at least in collaboration or together with Xbox One or Xbox One S in some sort of way, or even going to places like the big retailers like GameStop, or going to like a Target or something and doing some stuff with them in some sort of capacity. Like, have you guys thought about stuff like that or had those conversations?
We're on record, so there's certain things that I will avoid to share here. But I think at the end of the day, what I can tell you, we've been approached by a lot of gaming companies as we speak, who are starting to realize what the company is doing, and for simple reasons of the performance. So time will talk, but I mean, we love what we do, and as long as the gamers support the cause, that's what matters the most. And as a matter of fact, we will really, really appreciate any support on the launch of the product. We're going to be launching it on Kickstarter to make sure that all the early adopters of technology and design support the product, and the product will be announced on July 23rd on Kickstarter. And I would really, really appreciate any support from you as an influencer, and hopefully all the fan and all your community that follow you to be aware of this amazing product coming to market.
Any thoughts to add to that, Arabian?
Yeah, like I said, for me, it's just very simple, man. I'm a gamer. I want to see amazing products out there in the market. It's just something that I think that will enhance your gaming experience. That's pretty much what it is.
Cool.
And just one more thing, I have to have the last word. I have to have the last word. No, just kidding. But I think you said something that I'd like to share is, one of the reasons, without saying it, it was pretty clear, is that, why did we need this brand Marseille? Why did we need this, But I'll be clear with you. We started as underlying technology provider. And what we realized that all these big companies, were not willing to, basically the chip was outperforming the expected, performance on the market. And very quickly, they could not keep up. They would not integrate the technology. So it was becoming very clear that, the only way to share the good news, to share the technology with the whole world, was to step up our game from an underlying technology provider over the last 15 years to a full-fledged manufacturer. And this is why now you see basically our chip only in our product.
Sounds cool. Yeah, I can't wait to see more about it. Again, I got to see a little bit of it at E3 and stuff, so I'm looking forward to hopefully seeing more from you guys very soon. You guys mentioned July 23rd is when you're launching the Kickstarter. Is there any specific things that people should look for? Like, are you guys, just having specific pledges, or certain things that maybe people could pre-order, anything of the sort?
Yeah, for sure. We've been so busy coming back from E3 and overwhelming feedback. We even had to delay the launch. We're still brainstorming on, all the incentive that we're going to give to the early adopters. But for sure, pricing will be there, and probably some bundle with mCable and so on and so on, So it hasn't yet been finalized, but for sure, we'll make sure that whoever support the cause on Kickstarter gets some freebies and whatnot too.
Awesome. Sounds cool. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much for chatting up with me. You guys are on the
Thank you.
socials, correct? Where can everybody find you if they want to find out more info?
MarseilleInc.com. Marseille, like the French city, MARSEILLE Inc.com. And if it's too difficult to spell, techwithattitude.com, and you'll find us. And on social at Marseille Inc.
Awesome.
Yeah, and then for me, it's just OG Arabian Prince. You just put the OG in front of Arabian Prince, and that's me.
That's you on Twitter, correct? Because I think I'm pretty sure I follow you on Twitter. Like,
Yeah.
So that's awesome. So yeah, there'll be links to that stuff in the description box below down, so you guys could go check it out and stuff. But show them some love if you guys can, and be on the lookout for the Kickstarter launch that for the mClassic very, very soon. Because again, we're in July. We're getting close to the end of July, so it's coming up right around the corner. But again, gentlemen, thank you so much for chatting up with me, guys.
Thank you.
Let me know what's up in the comment section down below. Tell me if you guys enjoyed this discussion that we just had, and put all your feedback down in the comments down below. And leave a like on this video. Subscribe to the Koalition's YouTube channel for more videos just like this one. From all of us here, we will talk to you guys again very soon. Peace out and stay epic, everybody.